Been 6 years that I've been into crypto or this whole system of Web3 overall, and I've discovered one thing that nobody in crypto really knows what is happening or what is going to happen. And if you technically take everything into a perspective, nobody even knows who created Bitcoin as a fact. Now, there are theories that Bitcoin is created by Pentagon or by few individuals who were the cypherpunks as well. But I don't think that the whole concept of Bitcoin actually is relatable with the whole cypherpunk ideology. Anyways, in this video, we'll actually talk about the $37 trillion crypto debt reset, or which is named as the crypto cloud reset by Vladimir Putin on senior advisor as well. Now, one thing that most of you people will actually question in this video is that if they wanted to devalue the debt that they have of $37 trillion, why didn't they do it in the traditional ways that they were doing, like they were doing previously? If we talk about the 1934 Gold Reserve Act, which was signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1934, this basically prohibited the private ownership of gold. So citizens or private institutions or organizations or companies couldn't really hold gold as an asset. They had to basically, sort of just give this gold to US Treasury. So US Treasury redeemed all of this private gold, and then with the help of just one signature, the price of gold plummeted from $20.67 per ounce to directly $35 per ounce, which devalued the dollar a lot because now, firstly, the dollar was being backed by more gold, but now for every dollar that they were printing, the dollar was being backed by lesser and lesser gold. And of course, it is because the dollar price right now is $35 per ounce, and that is fixed. That will not increase with time or decrease with time, that it will be fixed for the coming years. Anyways, then the World War II happened, the Great Depression came, and President Nixon also came in 1971. And he sort of just abolished this rule, which was basically keeping gold as a reserve currency or a reserve change for dollar. He completely removed gold to be the reserve change for dollar. So now dollar was only being backed by air. That is why people are saying that now US government can print the dollars off of thin air. Yes, it is being backed by treasuries and bonds and all, but technically it is being backed by nothing if you keep everything in perspective or deep dive into the technicalities of it. Anyways, he did it because the whole World War II was happening, which just ended, and there was this whole Great Depression going on. So all of the foreign institutions, organization, and even governments, the foreign ones who were holding dollars, now they came and they were basically swapping their dollars for gold at a fixed price of $35 per ounce. So basically, he just sort of came on live television one day and just said that he is going to remove uh, the gold as a reserve change for dollar. Of course, he said this in a more diplomatic way, the most manipulative way, I would say. And that is the major reason why dollar is always devalued a lot. There is always a hike in inflation and the purchasing price. But again, America was a land of opportunities. So technically the effect didn't really came on the citizens a lot, if we are keeping everything in perspective. Now of course, the direct people who were affected by this inflation or with the decrease of purchasing price, because now they couldn't pay their education bills, their basically normal bills, and they couldn't really afford good way of living, or the basic standard things that a person needs to live. And because of so much devaluation, the inflation rose, and these things happen. But again, employment rates also surged a lot. Internet came in, this world of bits that we are living in right now. First we lived in the world of atoms, but now we are living in the world of bits. This came out, and then it basically sort of created more employment opportunities and all. But right now, the reset that is happening right now is not traditional. It is something which is happening in the world of bits, which will have a direct effect in the world of atoms. But most of you guys will now ask that why are they doing it with crypto? Why didn't they just devalue their 37 trillion debt or devalue the dollar via the traditional methods? Well, number one reason, they have passed this Genius Act, which will basically require the stable coins to be backed by one for one by US dollars. So basically, after every dollar they mint, basically for every dollar they mint, I'm talking about stable coins like USDT, USDC. For every USDT or USDC that they will mint, they technically have to buy these short term treasuries. So if they are minting $10 million worth of new USDT, on the other hand, they have to buy $10 million worth of US short term treasury as well. So technically, when the market will rise or when the market will, you know, just sort of get towards the average price that you have in your mind or to your stop loss or to your take profit levels, and once you will, sort of just a bear run will come, and you will sort of just convert your Bitcoin or all of the assets that you hold digitally into stable coins. What will basically happen is that you will technically buy these US short term treasuries instead of buying something which will be stable. Your stable coins will get devalued over time, and get this will not get devalued slowly. This will get devalued very fastly, but you will not really realize this, because now the effect of inflation will be distributed among the world, because stable coins or this digital world or this web3 is available 24/7 to all around the world, and nobody can really, just sort of ban it in a way. But these are centralized currencies, so they can be controlled in a way as well. Anyways, so when you are basically giving all of the world, you are basically manipulating all of the world into crypto, and you are just considering or just saying them to basically just buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, or BNB or any of these digital assets. And then when these assets will dump, they will convert their assets into stable coins, which they will keep for long, because they know that this is a bit complicated procedure. They have to re-enter their credit card again and again. They have to buy. They have to buy these, digital stable coins to buy digital assets. Anyways, when they will actually convert their assets to stable coins, they won't realize this, but the stable coins will get devalued because they are indirectly investing into US short term treasuries, because every dollar that will be minted from now on after the Genius Act has been passed will basically be backed by the original US dollar, which is being backed by the treasury. So technically, you are devaluing your own dollar to pay off US national debt of $37 trillion. Like, it is very funny, and this is probably the part of the New World Order as well. Now, most of you all will actually ask that can't these things be audited? No, can't these things just be audited and we will actually see what will happen? I've actually just sort of copy pasted a comment. Theater hasn't done an audit to verify reserves. They're also based offshore, just like people keep their black money in accounts which are based in Switzerland, and they are living in America, they are spending in America. If the stable coins are based on the dollar and the dollar still isn't backed by anything, wouldn't stable coins be a derivative of dying fiat? Of course it will be. And that is one of the major reasons why this is still an experiment. This is not something which is proposed in a way that all of the governments are now playing with it. No, sorry, all of the governments are seriously playing with it. They are just experimenting it right now via private organization, institutions, or companies like MicroStrategy. In one interview with a journalist, the CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, said that why don't we just basically sell all of our gold that the US is holding right now, and after dumping all of that gold, we put that money into these Bitcoin strategic reserve. So that will basically, you know, make us the king of Bitcoin, because we will hold the most amount of Bitcoin. Also, we will have complete control over Bitcoin then. And our enemies, that are holding gold, like China, like Turkey, like Russia, who's been buying gold for the past 3 years very constantly. That is one of the major reasons why gold has basically reached its all-time high of where did the gold bar, where the gold tab go? Yeah, yeah. That is one of the major reasons why gold has touched its all-time high, because China's been buying gold for the past 9 months. Turkey's been buying gold for the past 26 months. Just in 2025 alone, we have bought 625 ton of gold. So technically, they are trying to compete with gold itself in the war field. You know, First they competed with gold indirectly, and they always failed. They never really succeeded in a way, because they always had an increase in inflation and always devalued the dollar, always decreased the purchasing price. But because I would say that sometimes they were doing these other things as well, because I personally don't think that US is something which is run by patriots, Christians, Jewish, or Muslims. It is being run by Satanists. That is one of the major reasons why some of these satanic forums, Bitcoin, if you open the, now this is only a conspiracy theory again, if you open the alphabet of Bitcoin, it actually resembles 13. So they are saying that this will be the currency of the third temple that they will build. you know and also, if you look at dollar, it is clearly written on dollar, the new world order and the Illuminati sign, it is clearly drawn on that. So there is possibly no debate if US is being run by Satans or not. I think that the whole world is being run by secret societies, and whole world is directly or indirectly being influenced by the Satanists as well. And that's why once you see US, just sort of like, President Trump is a guy who's 70-year old, who probably knows nothing about digital currencies or crypto overall. Just few years earlier, they were completely against crypto. One of the major reasons why MicroStrategy bought a lot of Bitcoin, which was technically being funded by BlackRock or Fidelity, or basically all of these private institutions, which is indirectly being funded by the government itself. And now, when they are creating this Bitcoin strategic reserve, which will probably contain only the Bitcoin which they have which they have earlier seized, by those Silk Road things and things, basically the way that they seized a lot of Bitcoin. It just makes me think that Bitcoin right now will probably fall below $45,000. Firstly, I used to say it will fall towards 45K, and I had many of my analysis in mind, many of the fundamentals that I recently studied in my mind. But right now, this is just an opinion, but I think that Bitcoin will fall below 45K, because they are rolling out these new things which resembles to Bitcoin a lot, or to the whole cryptographic technology of Bitcoin a lot, like digital ID program and all. And they are somehow invading our privacy by giving us an illusion of freedom. So technically, they will open up this road, and they will say that you can walk on this road, and you can, just sort of go towards a new area via this road, but you have to walk in a certain way, because we are watching you. And if you don't end up walking in a certain way, we can do anything with you. So let's say if you are living in a situation where another virus, another seasonal virus like COVID-19 comes up, and we sort of just disagree with that virus, and we just sort of, say that we are not going to inject this vaccine into our system. Who knows, these people are giving us dog vaccines, those dog tracking vaccines or dog tracking injections, whatever you want to call it. Who knows that they are inserting us with microchips? Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows the amount of technology CIA or all of these secret institutions or these governments really have in the back end. These people have probably discovered quantum computers. These people have probably developed quantum computers and probably using quantum computers as well. But that is something that most of us don't know, at least right now. Just like Bitcoin, something which is created by someone who is of Japanese origin, but he knows perfect English. He contacts to Hall Finney via email. Like, you are talking about world's first actual blockchain, which is being promoted completely by AI, or sorry, which is being promoted completely. Who knows that it was on the back end? It could be some AI automation. Who knows that? Which is which has probably taken like hundreds of millions of dollars to build, just like Chat GPT. And he's just sort of okay, now I've created this white paper which is 100 hour long. You may read this, and the way he is communicating within the emails, that he created something which was so revolutionary and so big, and after creating that, that thing just gets promoted the very next day, or very next week gets promoted by the New York Times magazine, which just tells me that how did this guy find out the resources, the capital, the devs to develop this technology, and after developing that technology, how did this guy basically promoted this technology, and how is he still standing on $124 billion right now, which if he just cashes out, which he can't really cash out, but if he technically just let's consider the possibilities of having more liquidity in Bitcoin, and if he cashes out, he'll probably become one of the most richest guys on the planet. This just tells me that this is something which is created by Pentagon, just like internet. This is a great scam. It is all in air. This is cash 2.0. I don't believe in Bitcoin. I don't like Bitcoin. I did accept the fact back in the days that it sort of gave the illusion of freedom to all. But right now, the stuff that is happening, the psyop that we are living in, or the simulation of bits that we are living in right now, we're not living in the world of atoms right now. We're living in the world of bits right now. You're probably getting this message because you are watching me in the world of bits right now, right? So I don't believe in Bitcoin, you know, and I think that most people are sort of, this belief is completely fading. The belief of tech is completely fading. Now, I still believe that if the US successes in its plan, Bitcoin is easily going to be going, each Bitcoin is easily going to be worth $1 million. Easily. Easily $1 million. But they are not going to succeed. They are competing with gold. They are competing with their competitors for superpower. They are competing with the potential world war. They are competing it to basically just stealth launch a new world order completely. We live in a new world order, but they just want to make it very public now, and I don't think that they will succeed. Anyways, just to revise what this whole debt is about. So basically, these two acts, they devalue the dollar by a lot, and basically right now US has a debt of 37 trillion on them, and to devalue their debt, so basically they borrowed this 37 trillion dollar with like, they have been borrowing it for like years, right? But the value of dollar back in 2021 is not the same value that is right now. So technically, the thing that bought you, let's say you got this mouse in a dollar at that in 2021. Right now, if you want to purchase this mouse, you have to pay me $1.2, I think, 1.2 or $1.23, which is because of the inflation, which is because of the devaluation of the dollar. So right now they are trying to devalue the dollar to basically devalue their debt. And this is the major reason why you don't have to put your money into dollar, but why you don't have to put your money into something which is a centralized controlled entity by the US government itself. You have to put your money into assets. Now, it can be digital assets as well. It can be building on Web3 as well. Now, this is something which I will recommend to all of you. Now, if you don't have the time to build new things on Web3 or to build new things on the internet, what I will actually recommend you is to fund those people who can build things on the internet. This will this can potentially make you a lot of money, and if it doesn't make you a lot of money, you can probably just invest that sum that you are willing to afford to lose. Also, I have invested a lot in Monero. I think that this is the only privacy coin that exists in reality, which is not a PSYOP, which is not centralized, which does not have any tax, which is not community, which is not, you know, something which is driven by these powerful people, which is completely community driven. I like Monero. Monero has an active community as well. It is being used on darknet for ages. Anyways, this video was about the crypto cloud reset and the whole $37 trillion debt devaluation, and how just by using these stable coins they are basically going to devalue their $37 trillion worth of debt. Don't fall for this psyop. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this.